Today I want to talk about XRP, SHX, and even a little XLM as well. And I want to concentrate on why I haven't began to trade out my XRP for things like SHX when SHX has been uh, performing extremely well over the last 1 month or so and outperforming things like XRP and XLM by a whole lot. And I have a lot of content to explain why each of these on their own are so individually valuable, but I also want to include some things as to why I'm not quite prepared to do that at this point in time. But I do want to explain where my head is at, especially with the timing on everything, and I want to begin to explain that with this clip right here from British Hodl.
We could be sitting at above $100,000 Bitcoin before the halving. Do you understand how terrifying this is going to be once this ETF launches? There's rumors out there BlackRock has already lined up $2 billion of new capital to come into the ETF products from their investors. I think that around $3.5 billion net will flow into the total Bitcoin ETFs within the first week. If we just look at the total figure of $3.5 billion, you're looking at 80,000 Bitcoin disappearing off of the exchanges in the first week. And what do you think that happens to the price? So based on the multiplier effect, I think we see a price of about $60,000 to $63,000 very, very quickly after the ETF launch. The signals and the alarm bells that start sending around the world, we could be sitting.
And there is talk about the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF to be approved on Wednesday, which I believe would be January the 10th. So there is much more talk of that happening between the 8th and the 10th, and that can possibly send the price of Bitcoin up very, very quickly, and the alts would be performing well at that time, and they would outperform it once everything rolls out of Bitcoin and then into ETH and then into the high cap alts and then down into everything else. But I have seen much more talk about a lot of people wanting to give up on XRP. I mean, I put out 3 videos in a row about some XRP price predictions that are, in all honesty, dependent upon a lot of connection heavy things actually happening, not only in the US, but in the global economy. And that probably won't exactly happen overnight. And I am personally aiming for in between like a $8 and $13 XRP in this run, which would put me up a lot. But I'm still not prepared to exchange my XRP because I'm not overextended in my investments, in my personal opinion, and I still have the capital on hand to pick up more of what I want right now. So I'm in a pretty good spot in my personal opinion on that. I could pick up a pretty good amount of a handful of things that I am interested in. That would probably be first SHX, then Render and Casper. But I have been tempted to exchange some XRP for SHX, and there are more accounts now that are predicting that an SHX could do an XRP type of price action back in 2017, where it went from like what a few cents or like $0.10 or something like that, all of the way up to $3.64 at the top of the wick. I forget exactly what it was, but it is attracting a lot more attention. I follow Pharaoh X33. I think his big picture mindset is a lot like mine is at this point, and he thinks that it is very possible that SHX could be the top performing asset in 2024. So I'm still not quite prepared to actually pull the trigger on exchanging my or at least part of my XRP for SHX, and that just has to do with the fact that all of them are so intertwined that I just don't really see one of the three not performing well at all. I do think all of them will perform extremely well, and just from where I purchased a lot of my XRP, I wouldn't really be at a huge gain right now on whatever I sold, and depending on how much I did actually decide to sell to pick up SHX, then I would probably be at a loss. And for my XRP holding in particular, I'm just not really prepared to take a loss quite yet. And so I guess at this point, I just want to reiterate how all of these three projects are so interconnected. So I have talked a lot about the connections that Ripple and XRP has, not quite as much as I have things like XLM, but they both come from the same place, which is from very, very well connected individuals from the PayPal mafia. So, of course, on our XLM map from XX, you do have SHX directly tied in here, not only because it does primarily run on the XLM network, but because of its involvement with IBM WorldWire as well, which is huge, which is then tied into Casper and HBAR as well. And IBM WorldWire runs on the XLM network itself, and it's for SHX. Here is how those two hypothetically at this point, but it is not exactly an exaggeration, that they are both very, very interconnected. So you have the fact that SHX is on IBM's Hyperledger fabric as well, and as I have explained before, it is becoming a rapidly adopted payment provider as well, that can replace and compete with credit card companies. That being said, they are partnered up to a certain extent with Visa right now, but and that is just kind of an overview of the fact that they are mostly, I guess, concentrated on providing blockchain technology for the ACH payment space, which I think it was 2021 or 2022 was worth about 76.7 trillion over that entire year, and they are involved with payment processing as well. So that, and I did a video on this on its own in the past, but with SHX being so connected into financial institutions, which I have more information on that I will put together into some videos here soon. And with how it runs on XLM, which is so involved with with IBM and the Hyperledger and WorldWire, they can even create either a retail or a possibly even a wholesale kind of a CBDC as well, because of their connections into companies like Ripple, and I can't say ST's well, but yeah, it is right there on the screen. And that isn't even talking about how interconnected they are on the people involved either. So Sean Bennett actually worked for Ripple and Stellar as well, and he co-founded Stronghold in 2015. I don't know if Tammy Camp came on right at that time, but she worked for Stellar as well. So so not only are each of those two individuals heavily involved with XRP and XLM, if you look at the actual people involved with Ripple and Stellar, you go right back into the original PayPal mafia with people like Chris Larson, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk. And of course, Sean pops up here. I'm still kind of surprised that there's no direct mention to Tammy Camp on here, but this is concentrating more on the PayPal mafia end of things. I do have some information on him, which is interesting, but it is a little bit tinfoil, but it is extremely interesting. So all of that said, right, here is some good TA and some price predictions that really aren't too far out there in my own personal opinion.
Resort to this, knowing that, hey, we're in the hot zone as far as the past year and a half worth of price data. That doesn't mean we don't have way more upside to go, because if we take this high back here in the bull market top of 2021 to the bear market low in 2023, we have not even extended to that 786 yet. So I'm going to mark that level right here at the 786 right there. But also where we're at currently is pretty much a key level, because that's the point in 2022 where we're holding our support. And then when the Luna debacle happened, we fell off from that point. And that's when we capitulated, had our rounding out bottom. And now we're right back at that point, especially as well too, July 2019, we wicked up to that level. And in January 2019, that was the price point on which Stronghold came out. Then when we got through this level back here in 2021, we exploded. It was immediately like one beanstalk candle of 10x. Can that happen again? We'll have to see. But we're at that point where that could happen. So current levels, where we're at, based off the Stargate signals, if you would have bought 100 days ago, you'd be up around 8x right now. Pretty soon it's looking like you're going to be up 10x. But where could we go at now? So I think that if we can get through this current level where we're at, I would say 0.0045. If we can get above there and hold that support, because you have all this price action here that, you know, will reclaim this level, then I think we're going to immediately shoot up to that point, 0.018. So if we can get above there, 0.018, that's another 300%, another 4x from that point. Then let's say Stronghold just goes into price discovery. Where could we go to? I would say our 1618 extension here at 97 cents. And then our 2618 extension here is at $115. Totally ludicrous, absolutely unreal. Like these tokens, Stronghold, Velo, have massive upside if they catch traction and if they're here for the long run. You had a nice rounding out bottom back here, sideways accumulation, and then a shoot up to then come back down to the base, sideways accumulation and shoot up. We're in the early stages of the shoot up, in my opinion. If we were to pull down, where we need to hold that support and a great buy back in opportunity is right here at 0.00107.
And his point about the 0.0045 mark, we are holding that price pretty well at this point in time. And I will review some charts and some custom charts in order to show my train of thought on why I'm not on why I'm still hesitant on trading some of my XRP for SHX. Now here is a thing that I learned from crypto banker SHX. If you go on Stellar Expert and you find SHX under assets, then if you go down to the price history, if you go to all, right, I've always said that the max was about 6 cents, but if you look at the wicks, it had this insane wick all of the way up to 19 cents on the XLM network back in May of 2021, and it had another wick up here in October of 2021 up to just over 10.5 cents, which is much higher than you are able to see on things like coin market cap. And if I come down here and if I go down here, that should capture these ranges. October, yeah, so that shows it a little bit more. And where was that other one? Here, yeah, that was about 10 cents. I'm not sure why I can't find that wick, but yeah, so it has had some insane price action if you have been able to catch that. So if we compare, if we are comparing SHX to things that have performed very, very well in the last two bull runs, like let's take for example Dogecoin, right? Which obviously, I don't know why it's not working with me here. Yeah, so which is not a really good comparison in my personal opinion, because it's not really a utility coin, but the market cap of 11 billion right now is not too terribly unrealistic for something like SHX to achieve. And I say that because if you compare SHX to XRP back at the all-time high in 2017, it hit that 364 mark or whatever it was. Its all-time high market cap was 131 billion compared to the 30 billion it has right now. So that kind of explosive price action, especially because this token is so heavily tied into XLM and XRP and all of the connections that each of those companies and the connections that SHX has now, it's not too terribly irresponsible, in my opinion, to make that kind of a comparison. So if we change this to something that performed extremely well in 2017, 2018, like Cardano at first, well, yeah. So its all-time high would put us at an 18 buck SHX right now, and $3.25 if we're just comparing it to its current market cap. If we compare this to something like Solana, which of course has its own issues and concerns from our last bull run, it is in that same price range as well. So all of these kinds of projects that have had these completely explosive and overnight exponential increases in price, then these kinds of predictions aren't that far out there, not to include that low end of just under $1 each, which would make a lot of us very, very, very happy. So now for some charts, right? Here is the XRP chart right now. It just hasn't really been performing very well if you're only looking at the price. And I don't look at just the price when I look at these kinds of projects like XRP, XLM, XDC, Casper, HBAR, because they are working with major companies to do real world things, and that adoption and that hype just really hasn't caught up with everything yet, even though the companies themselves are profiting heavily off of it. We're not buying shares of these companies, right? We are buying these companies' technological products, and we can't conflate those two because it's not a one-to-one comparison. So if you look at the XRP to XRP UST to Bitcoin USDT, we have not exactly been keeping up extremely well with Bitcoin, right? We have been underperforming it for a very long time now, and that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but I'm much more interested in the connections that that they have accrued over time. So if you look, if you look at the SHX chart right now, of course, we are, let's go back. We are at that 0.00487 right now. That was the weekly chart, and on our 1 day chart, it looks like we'll be possibly rounding this off a bit to hold at around this 0.005 mark, or at about the half-cent mark. So if we compare, which for my purpose here, when I am talking about exchanging XRP for SHX, the chart, if you index it to 100, where it's essentially a percentage, obviously SHX has outperformed XRP by a whole lot, by about 12 times. And if you do that same thing for XLM, which is of course heavily involved with SHX, you get just about that same result, right? And if you look at SHX to Bitcoin, then we're outperforming it by about 6.5 times. So in all honesty, all of the technicals point to you could probably do pretty well exchanging something like XRP for SHX at this point in time, and probably for a while too, because things like XRP and XLM, if you look at their performance in the past, they have pumped relatively late compared to a lot of other alts. So I am beginning to warm up to this a little bit more. I'm just not quite there yet because of my personal uh, investment points in XRP that date back all of the way to about March of 2021. So in March of 2021, I did my first whoops, I gotta change this back. I picked up, I bought like a grand worth of XRP at about 40 cents. I don't remember exactly when. And then I bought XRP for about the next 9 months uh, with the amount that I would have contributed into my company's 401k. So unfortunately, I DCA'd a lot when the price of XRP was $1 or over. And that's not great, obviously, right? But it is what it is, and I continued to make a couple of larger chunks in terms of purchases when the price was back down around like 50 to 75 cents. And I haven't picked up a whole lot for a while now because I am into the five figures with my XRP, and that's kind of enough for me because of my personal interest in a lot of other projects that I talk about a lot. So I might be warming up to this in all honesty, but as I said at the start, I haven't yet because I still have a lot of conviction in XRP itself because of the connections that the company has made, and especially with the things changing in the global economy, where countries are wanting to move away from transacting in the USD, and with Ripple being as connected to a lot of those countries as they are, I can just see them incorporating XRP somehow into a new electronic way of exchanging currencies in between different countries, which is just one way that XRP could become a lot more valuable. Obviously, you have a lot more direct connections for SHX into XLM, but they are, in my opinion, almost as connected into these very large institutions as XRP is at this point in time. Plus, they have smart contracts on XLM coming on online soon by way of these guys right here. So at this point in time, I am still thinking that we could see the previous all-time high of SHX, and I can see that being surpassed by a pretty good bit. Honestly, I don't think an SHX of over $1 in this bull run is out of the question at this point in time. And my approach right now is to just use the capital that I have on hand to accrue more and not trade my XRP quite yet.